Take a jet plane my way lately? 'Cause now you are mine. You are mine. This airplane's going my way. 'Cause now you're bound and tied. Today on my own podcast, we break down Bound and Tied. Hello, my friend. We meet again. Welcome to my own podcast, the only Creed podcast that we know of, okay? My name is Andrew Colin, and with me, as always, is my co-host, the donkey to my Shrek, Reid Fenlaw. What's up, Reid?
Hello, Andrew.
Yeah, you don't have to whisper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, dude?
You can just talk
What's
like
up?
you normally kind of talk.
Sorry, you told me to never speak to you again, so I was trying to keep my volume down in
Right.
hopes that it did not technically count as speaking to you because I was whispering.
I meant outside the confines of the podcast. Like, I
Ah.
don't socially want anything to do with you, but we can continue recording this in the interim.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
We're going through a tough time in our friendship
Yeah.
in that Andrew doesn't want anything to do with me outside of the confines of this podcast studio. So I've moved into this studio,
Mm-hmm.
and Andrew doesn't know it, but there is super glue on his chair.
Oh,
and the chair is super glued to the floor.
Not again.
And there was super glue on the inside of your shorts too. So everything is all super glued here. So we're going to be friends in this studio forever.
It's going to be a sticky afternoon.
That's okay.
Super glue always makes me think of this scene in Matilda where Danny DeVito repairs his cars. He's like a used car salesman, and instead of getting them properly repaired, he just uses super glue.
Does it work?
No, he's a con artist. That's kind of the whole thing. But Matilda does super glue his hat to his head.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Did he care?
Of course he
I've never
cares.
seen Matilda.
Yeah, you wouldn't because you don't like fun things that bring people joy.
Man, I love Arby's. A lot of people like Arby's.
I've never been to Arby's.
Have you ever had just a pile of shaved roast beef on a perfectly warmed up potato bun?
Not from Arby's.
Well, then you haven't fucking lived, Andrew.
I'm surprised you're willing to go this far to vouch for Arby's, and you haven't even said anything about Chili's yet.
Well, I was getting there, but Chili's doesn't offer a shaved roast beef sandwich. If they did, I would burn down every single Arby's in the country because we would be competing with Chili's. But they're not.
That seems excessive.
Well,
you haven't taken any action against Outback Steakhouse or TGI Fridays or the Cheesecake Factory, other fast casual restaurants.
I'm currently caught up in litigation with each of those chains that I cannot
Disclose.
legally speak about.
Okay.
Unless everything's off the record.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I'm embroiled in a pretty nasty legal fight with Outback Steakhouse. I was in court yesterday. I'm representing myself because I'm a self-certified attorney.
That's not a thing.
And they're suing me for libel, slander, defamation,
Right.
using counterfeit money
That's not
in
okay.
their restaurants, wire fraud,
Mm-hmm.
and vandalism. I spray painted all their line cooks one day in protest.
Okay, so coming back down into reality now, how you been?
Other than the pending litigation
Yeah.
from 4 massive United States-based restaurant chains,
Yeah.
I'm really good, man.
That's good to hear, man.
It's August.
Augie.
It's one thing I don't like though that I noticed kind of for the first time last night is
Yes.
the days are getting shorter
Already?
already.
Oh, no.
Just watch.
Okay.
Just watch.
Watch the sun all day.
Just watch the sun, stare at the
Okay.
sun
Yeah,
all
yeah.
day.
Okay.
Because in a few months from now, it's going to be getting dark at 5.
Yeah.
And
I hate that.
I do too.
I do like October and spooky season generally, but
Yeah.
I don't like it getting dark so early
That's because you scare easily.
very easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of spooky movies. I just like the general aura.
That is a fun time of year.
Yeah. Cools down a little bit so I can actually take my dog for walks.
Do you go to haunted houses?
No, I've been meaning to go to like Universal was it Hollywood Horror Nights for years.
Never been.
Neither have I, but I've heard it's fun. My wife hates all scary things, so I don't think I could convince her to go, though.
Go alone.
I'm not going to go to Universal Hollywood Horror Nights by myself like a
Yeah,
loser.
Yeah, I've never done that.
You just said you've never been.
I would never do that. I think this Halloween I'm going to the Queen Mary down in Long Beach, the ship.
I've heard of that.
Supposed to be haunted. That's like docked down there. You can spend the night on it.
Jeez. Does it cost a lot of money?
I don't know.
Jeez.
Isn't it worth it, whatever it is, though, to possibly shit your pants on a docked cruise ship?
I mean, how much interference is there with, like, employees? Like, do they just come out and spook you, or they, like, leave you to the real ghosts?
No, they leave you to the real ghosts. There's, ghost tours and stuff.
I
think it's fake?
Maybe.
I think you're fake.
Where I grew up, there's right by where I used to play tennis as a youth, there was a restaurant / maybe an inn across the street that's been there forever. And I think it was called the Wayne Inn, and it was haunted because there were murders that happened there. And for a while after it had been shut down for a long time, I think it reopened as a restaurant, and we ate there once, and it had just like the freakiest vibes about it.
Like fun freaky?
No.
Or like you couldn't eat fast enough?
I was like, this French onion soup isn't doing it for me because the ghosts are choking me out.
Yeah. It's hard to eat when a ghost has like a finger in your butthole or something.
Yeah. But what was it called? The Wayne something Inn.
Wayne Newton. The Wayne Newton.
No, he's in Vegas.
Wayne's World. Wayne Brady.
No, those are just other Waynes you're thinking of.
Yeah. But it's pretty good at thinking of them.
Well, that's cool, man. I'm glad that you're doing good, and I'm glad that today we have a good song.
Yeah, we do. Are you good?
I'm okay.
I feel like we kind of answered it, but like just making sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was laid off recently. So, as you know, I'm not breaking news to you on the podcast.
No, but it still sucks to hear.
Working on the podcast full time now. So my salary went from whatever it was to negative $50 a week.
Chili's, we need you now more than ever.
Sponsor us,
Chili's. Because we are full-time podcasters now.
Yep. Here it is. You're quitting your job.
Here we go.
I'm quitting my job because I had to.
Yep. Forced quitting.
So now that we have ample time, we're going to give you the best podcast we can possibly conceive.
Don't promise that.
It's really good.
Okay, stop
saying
that. It's
going to make you blow your mind. You've listened to Conan on podcasts before. He can shit his pants compared to how good this is going to be.
Conan, sponsor us.
You ever heard of Smartless? More like Smart Idiots, because we're going to bring you the most groundbreaking interviews you ever heard.
Yeah.
Celebrity interviews, chef interviews, music interviews. Anybody you've ever dreamt of will be on the podcast.
We're going to keep it about Creed, though, right?
Always about Creed.
And your favorite restaurants.
And chefs. So with those bold promises out of the way, Reed, I think we can get into our song today.
Okay.
Because it's a weird one.
It is. Some people may not even know about it.
I mean, you didn't really know about it. Neither did I.
I didn't.
Until I was looking at the tracks and saw this on like Wiki or something.
The song is called Bound and Tied.
Yes. Kinky. Kinker.
There is virtually zero information on it.
Right.
Nothing in Scott's autobiography, no interviews about it, no press about it really, which could be because it was not on My Own Prison album in the United States of America. It wasn't. It was released as a bonus track on My Own Prison, but only in Australia, Germany, and Japan.
Here's my question.
Go ahead, man.
In Germany, Japan, and what was the other one? China?
Australia.
What does a bonus track even really mean on a CD? It's just there at the end on the CD? What's so bonus about it?
Because it doesn't exist on every version of the album. I think if it doesn't exist on at least one version, you could probably call it a bonus track.
I think on the CD, on the recording, they should preface it with, "You're about to hear a bonus track."
You want like a voiceover artist to just announce the track?
Yeah,
that way clarify that it's a bonus track?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. I mean, we can talk to him about it.
I wonder why that is. But that it was only released in those specific countries as a bonus track. And why the US of A got so gypped.
I'm guessing it was something to do with their label and the specific version of the album they wanted to put out in the United States.
Freaking label, man.
Freaking labels. Dude.
Holding us down.
We don't even have a label.
We don't even need labels.
We're indie.
We're indie.
Yeah, we're indie, and this is our full-time job.
Yeah.
Come on, Chili's.
Please donate.
We can donate. Do we have a donation place? There's nowhere to donate.
Just Venmo me.
It is Venmo, but just look us up on Venmo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Written by Scott and Mark.
Right.
Not well-known, not popular, but it was on a soundtrack to a movie starring Mark Paul Gosselaar from Saved by the Bell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you know the movie?
Saved by the Bell goes to the beach.
Nope.
Okay.
It came out in 1998. It was a dark comedy.
Saved by the Bell, The After Years.
Nope.
Death of Screech.
He's actually dead.
No, he's not.
Dustin Diamond.
Dustin Diamond died?
Yeah, like 12 years ago or something.
Sorry.
Rest in peace, Dustin.
R.I.P.
I'll give you another hint. It's about, you probably never heard of this because you were like 8 when this movie came out.
What fucking movies was I seeing when I was 7 besides like The Lion King?
It centers on the urban legend that a student gets straight A's if their roommate commits suicide.
Oh. Land Before Time.
Yes.
Okay.
Land Before Time.
Yeah,
exactly.
I saw that one.
So it's Mark Paul Gosselaar, and the other lead actor is Tom Everett Scott, who, if you don't recognize the name, which I didn't immediately, if you saw his picture, you would know exactly who it is.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Been in a bunch of
Name
shit.
sounds vaguely familiar.
It's all about them trying to find a new and very depressed roommate that they can push to commit suicide.
You know what I'd have to say about that movie in 2024?
What?
Canceled.
Exactly.
You can't cancel.
It's like, it's a pretty gnarly premise for a movie.
Even then, I think that's too much for me.
I mean, dude, I remember seeing this. I saw it in the theater.
Oh, wow.
I was a
You
big
geezer.
Mark Paul Gosselaar fan, man.
Hell yeah.
It also
Wait, he's Mark
what?
Paul Gosselaar is Zach.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. He had great hair.
It also featured in smaller supporting roles both Jason Segel
Wow.
and Allison Hannigan.
Wow. Before How I Met Your Mother?
For How I Met
They
Your Mother.
worked together?
They did. It's probably. I'm assuming this was filmed in like '97 since it was released in August of '98.
That's how movies work, people.
Yeah. Now
Little
you know.
insight to the biz.
Little peek behind the curtain.
From two idiots.
Yeah, but we love Chili's
And movies.
Yeah, so it was on the soundtrack for Dead Man on Campus, which is the name of the film, which you did not guess.
We got to look up the clip and see where it appears in the movie. Or is it one of those things where it's never actually in the movie, but it's on the soundtrack?
I don't know.
Because there are things like that.
I do want to watch this movie again, so I will report back.
Okay, watch it without me because it's a little too dark for my taste, to be honest.
But it's a comedy. How dark can a movie with Jason Segel be?
Have you ever seen Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
I love that
He gets broken up with.
Yeah.
And a surfboard accident, I think.
So honestly, dude, okay, well, there's no facts about the song.
You gave me some good ones there.
But I do have a fact about the...
Wait, real quick.
Yep.
I feel like it was like a weird 90s, early 2000s phenomenon where like a band would release a song, but then that song doesn't appear on anything but like a soundtrack. Like,
yeah.
The two examples I can think of are both Chili Pepper songs. Like, one is Soul to Squeeze, which never appeared on an album until their, like, greatest hits. And the only time the world heard it before was the Conehead soundtrack.
Is that true?
Yeah. And similarly, Chili Peppers had, like, another song called Sick of Making Nico that was never on a track. Maybe, like, a B-side, but it was only in, like, Wayne's World or Wayne's World 2.
I do remember that phenomenon of, like... the only place you could get a song from a band was the soundtrack.
It's so weird.
But I think it probably went away when CDs went out because the whole point was like to get you to buy an album because you loved that band and you couldn't get it as a single from them or on their own album.
I'm guilty of that too. I did that with Now That's What I Call Music 3, I think.
Wow.
I think that had maybe American Woman by Lenny Kravitz on it or some really dope song. And the rest I was like, pretty like lukewarm on. I was like, I need the whole album, though.
Yeah.
How else am I going to listen to it?
And that's what you call music.
Yep. Three. Anyway, go on with your factoid.
Yeah. It's just factoid. It's more factoid about Dead Man on Campus.
Oh, no, I think we covered it.
It did $15 million at the box office.
That's probably a pretty low budget for a comedy, though.
Well, $15 million is what it made in.
Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah. So against a pretty small budget,
$14 million budget.
Oh, never mind.
They made $1 million.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Spread it out evenly. The film was almost universally panned by critics, except for Mark Paul Gosselaar's performance, which some people felt overshadowed the whole film.
Good job, Mark.
So, yeah.
You're more than Zach.
Yeah, you are. You are whatever your name was in Dead Man on Campus.
Troy.
Which I will watch tonight.
Yep.
You want to get into the song?
Let's just get into it, bro.
Let's rip, dude. I'm not going to lie. This song and the lyrics, very confusing to me, to my simple, smooth brain.
Yeah. We've covered the topography of your brain before.
Yeah. It was hard to make sense of it. But that's why we're having this conversation.
That's why we do the pod.
That's why we do it. So let's go. Tongue-tied, restless and wanting. Looks like you might bite. You might bite. Breathing in, breathing out. You're weakened. The poisons hit your mind. Your mind.
Okay, so unlike the other songs, this one felt just like really, really vague. But the line that sticks out to me the most, that I think becomes like a recurring theme in this song, is the last part.
Mm-hmm.
The poisons hit your mind, which makes me feel that like the person he's singing to or about is like being manipulated or like has a falsity spread before their eyes. Like the best example that I can think of to compare this to is Neo from The Matrix.
Okay.
Because if you're not familiar, at the beginning of the first Matrix movie, spoiler alert that happens within the first like 20 minutes, he realizes that everything he knows in this world is false and that the real world is something completely different. That's a pretty good description, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good spoiler for The Matrix.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to see it.
So it just sounds like the first part, the person is like suffering in ways maybe that they don't even understand. And it looks like you might bite means like, to me, like he's trying to help this person, but they're not open to being helped.
Oh.
Like they're going to recoil like a snake would if you try to pet a snake. Don't pet a snake.
You shouldn't.
No.
Don't pet snakes or dogs because they sting you.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. My initial notes on this before I actually decided something was just a series of questions, including, has someone been kidnapped? What is the poison? Is the poison society?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I do think the first part that got me was the breathing in, breathing out, you're weakened.
Okay.
Because I think it's just a person who's broken down.
Okay.
Whether it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I just think they're in a place where they've been broken down.
Okay.
And they're vulnerable.
I kind of think we'll get into it, but I think the breathing in, breathing out your weekend just means like the fact that the longer you go on in this state, the more you will be weak because you're living like a false life. And the further you are into the cult, the more you get absorbed by it.
I'm going to read these next lines then, because
Please.
I think it leads into that nicely, and I have a similar note.
Okay.
Time's ticking, and it's got you thinking. You're happy with your life. Your life.
Yeah, I think that is what I'm kind of referring to. The fact that time keeps going and that you think you know what makes you happy and you think you understand how life is supposed to work and that you're content with how things are, but you don't know the half of it, brother. You got to take that red pill.
Whoa, dude. There's any red pill people on our podcast?
That's the one that Neo takes, right?
Spoiler alert.
It's like the first 20
Good
minutes.
God, dude. Just watch Fight Club instead, people.
That's a different...
It's a sequel.
No, Matrix 2 is a sequel.
Okay, whatever.
Revolutions?
Yeah, Revolutions.
Reloaded.
Nope, that's the third one.
No, other way around. Reloaded is 2.
You can't prove that.
I can.
All right, you know what? I think this part, I have like, life is passing you by. Most people are living with blinders on to what really matters, just like living in their little bubble.
Yeah.
And I think you're right about that the longer you live in that state of just like, it's like someone who's like just
work 9 to 5 and drink my coffee.
Yeah.
Come home to my wife.
Like you don't know what's really out there. You're stuck in your little hallway of your life without opening any doors as you're moving through it.
There's so many doors down that corridor, dude. You got to open them.
That's why they call it a corridor, because there's doors.
Oh, that makes sense.
The whole way down. So we're mostly in agreement, I think. Generally in agreement on where this is going, even though I still think it's a little bit nonsensical. You're jaded, slated, and singled out by all those chains that bind.
The first two, I think, make sense. Jaded and slated seem like by being jaded, you're kind of naive to all the falsities that surround you and fill your life. And by being naive in that way, you're kind of being cheated out of the full life that you could have. I don't know why this person's singled out necessarily, though.
Can I just, is cheated a word?
Cheated. That's what I said.
I thought you said cheated.
I like cheating.
If you said that, you better not cut it out.
I'll keep it in.
Okay, thank you.
I think cheating might mean you're cheated out of Cheetos.
I'm Cheeto.
I like Cheeto.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know why he says singled out. I that's a little confusing to me. Maybe he's singling this person out now that he's singing to.
So I think the singled out is attached to the next line.
Okay.
I think it's because I think I took jaded here to more mean like in the bored sense of just jaded.
Mm-hmm.
Like ugh, yeah, okay, God, I get it. I'm here. Like bored, criticized, and then like just singled out by like the trappings in life that hold us back, whether we realize it or not.
Right.
I think those are the chains that bind. Like usually chains are used to talk about a significant other because they hold people down.
Ugh, my ball and chain won't let me go bowling with the boys this weekend.
Yeah. She won't let you go grease up your balls.
Ugh, the old ball and chain won't let me drink another Miller High Life before Denny's.
Before Denny's?
Denny's.
I love Denny's.
Ugh, the old ball and chain threw away my gasketer.
My old ball and chain shaved my body and shoved nipples down my underwear while I slept. And
shut up! You're not even
whipped
married.
me with a cat of 9 tails.
Moving on.
About that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but if it's not that ball and chain, and it's not like kinky, bound and tied. I think I agree that like the chains that bind and tie them are the ones, the societal binds.
Yeah, dude.
That we can't even see, that we're bound to.
Societal bonds.
That we worship without even realizing it.
Take a jet plane my way lately, 'cause now you are mine, you are mine. This airplane's going my way, 'cause now you're bound and tied. And then he says you're bound and tied a couple more times.
This is the harder part, and I think I kind of changing my mind about what I wrote earlier, because it sort of seems, at first I thought it was like Scott saying that he's going to reveal to this person what true happiness is.
You're free to change your mind, bro.
But first of all, jet plane my way, just such an odd choice of words, I think.
Well, it just, jet plane doesn't sound like it would ever be in a Creed song.
Exactly.
Like just the phrase jet plane. Like
that makes me think of that Steve Miller Band song, like Off on a Jet Plane?
Yeah, how does that go?
I don't remember, but it's got a very specific connotation in my mind that's not Creed related.
That song is on like the tip of my brain. I can't think of it. Oh, I'm a joker. I'm a smoker.
That's different. Yep. Steve Miller Band song?
Yep, but that's okay. Just doing what I can.
Because at first he sort of presents himself as the one who has the answers. Mm-hmm. And now he's saying, like, come to me because you're mine now and you're now bound and tied. So this sort of seems different than the rest of the lyrics to me. Unless he's saying that by the nature of being in a plane, you're subject to federal regulation and that you're spreading chemtrails.
That's it.
And now, like, the government has you. You're all theirs.
And they make you use a seatbelt. So
Bound.
you're literally bound to your chair.
And you can't use certain electronics above a certain amount of feet.
So you're technologically tied.
Tied, yeah.
Dude, we just got
Crushed
it. Good shit, man.
Good shit.
All right, Next week, the only way I knew how to take these lyrics is from like Scott's perspective.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or Mark, because again, they both wrote it. But Scott's singing, so we'll direct this to him. I mean, it sounds like he's being a hyper possessive like boyfriend or something and ordering another person to come see him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, take a jet plane my way lately because now you are mine, you are mine. The airplane's going my way because now you're bound and tied. Like,
also, it's a jet plane and then it's an airplane. Make up your mind, Scott.
I know. Does it have jets?
It's weird that he keeps describing, like, we're still, after one line, on this, like, plane analogy.
Yeah. Maybe it's changing, just like the meaning of the song.
I think...
Maybe none of this means anything.
Probably
he's
not.
Fucking with us.
It could be.
But I think it's this is indicating that, and maybe it's not Scott singing, but I still think it's spoken from first person. So I think it's someone is metaphorically bound and tied to the singer. I'll just say Scott, because the person thinks that Scott makes them happy.
Okay, wait, I have a different take that I think is good.
Go ahead.
So in the first two stanzas, he never says mine, right? He never identifies himself as the singer. So I kind of think that this line is maybe from the perspective of this evil society that is keeping the person being sung to tied down.
Okay.
So like, I think this whole thing, like his perspective as the singer in the song is that of evil society that are binding and tying its citizens. So like, take a jet plane, like I'm in control of that. Like you're making yourself subject to me. You're coming my way. You're entering this society. You're bound and tied by all that I am.
So this from the perspective of the Federal Aviation Association.
Or of just like society at large.
Yeah. Represented by the Federal Association of Aviators.
Because he kind of sounds evil when he sings this song.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is why I don't think he's presenting himself as the hero, as the singer. He's presenting himself as the like master.
I mean, that would make maybe more sense.
I think
I'm going to
so.
stick with my interpretation that he's a possessive boyfriend.
Okay, mine's the right one. Just
demanding someone fly to him and see him.
Okay.
Maybe that's why this did not end up on an album, because it sounds threatening.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
Like the name is Bound and Tied, which evokes like either like kidnapping imagery or like a darker stuff, like sexual energy. But yeah, maybe that's why it didn't make it, because maybe the label was like, dude, the song's just kind of weird. It sounds like you're trying to tie people up. And
I also think we could talk about it later, but sonically, it maybe doesn't fit that well either.
Yeah. Maybe they wrote it specifically for the film, and then it just got added on to versions of My Own Prison released in those other countries.
Wow. Maybe Scott Van Pelt, what's his name?
Scott Stapp?
No, the actor, Zach. Zach Morris asked Scott to write this song for the movie. Mark Paul Gosselaar asked Scott to write this for the movie.
It's possible.
Okay.
Moving on. This is the last original set of lyrics. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So focus.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking focus.
Okay.
Bruv. Now sit and reflect on all the fame. Time to dim your light. Zooming in, zooming out. You're questioning. For that, there is no crime. Hit me.
Now I'm wondering if he's singing as the master to himself.
God, you can't just change every fucking...
No, that still applies.
Okay.
Like, he's saying... I mean, I just get these thoughts of, like, when he says fame, you know, these ideas of, like, false happiness and not really meaning anything other than being visible in the public eye. Yeah, I just feel like now it's like that evil master of society conducting us all as puppets, singing to Scott, being like, reflect on all your fame, and like, you know, you can question it all you want, but you're a pog in this society. What is it? You're a cog.
A pog?
Like the 90s fad. You're a cog in this society, so you can question all you want. That's not a crime, but like, you're going to be a part of it. You're going to spin in this wheel of society, and there's no getting out.
To me, this is a more reflective verse. I mean, he said sit and reflect on all the fame. Because fame can be good, but there's a dark side to it. And also, unless people's like just stay hyper famous their whole lives, or
Like Justin Bieber.
or, yeah, well, his fame may fade, but unless someone like grows old, like is famous until they die of old age, or they're taken early, like there's a time when it comes to an end.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the like sit and reflect, and it's time to dim your light. Like it's okay
To not be famous anymore.
Yeah. And the zooming in, zooming out, and questioning. I just think he's saying you have to look at things closely, but also sometimes take a step back and look a little wider to understand the big picture of what's really going on. And then it's no crime. I just have in all caps that that's okay with Scott for you to do that, for you to
Question everything.
things and zoom in and out and look at the big picture of what's really going on.
And sometimes the small picture.
It's okay with Scott.
Yeah.
Ooh, like the big picture, like a movie screen.
The Matrix Reloaded.
No, Dead Man on Campus.
Right.
God.
Right.
Idiot.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I feel like we don't have a great consensus here, other than that maybe the chains that bind and tie us are those false sense of how to live a life that we're fed.
yeah, I feel like we're circling the same area, but we're not fully landing in the same spot.
Well, I guess we got to meet up with Scott at a Chili's and ask him.
I would love nothing more than that.
Here's ask number 11.
Okay, the end of the song. If you want to go, do you want to get
And
through
we
these?
fly. That part?
Yeah, he says, he repeats, and we fly, we fly, we fly, we fly away, away. Any thoughts on that? Does that hold any significance to you?
I kind of just think that means like that we're going to be stuck in this rut, a part of a cog in this society, and fly away into forever. I don't know. I don't have a great answer to that because my perspective on the song sort of shifted as we spoke.
Okay.
Because before I kind of thought like he's going to escape it and fly away to freedom. It doesn't really feel like that anymore.
No. One thing that I thought was interesting was everything to this point has been my way
And yours.
and this is the first we.
Look at you noticing things.
Yeah. This is the first time he uses we.
Maybe he's succumbing to the master, the puppet, the puppeteer.
Yeah, or he's successfully executed his kidnapping, and now he's on the plane with them. Or maybe he was on the plane with him the whole time. Maybe Scott, in another life, was a United States Air Marshal, and he flew a lot.
It's possible. Is there any flying scenes in Dead Man on Campus?
I don't think so.
I think we maybe failed our due diligence by not watching this film.
I'm going to watch it.
Okay. You can report back on the next episode with any new findings.
I'll report back.
Okay, cool.
I promise. Yeah, so that's the only thing that was unique about that. And then the song ends with just, it's back to you. Bound and tied, you're bound and tied. And he repeats that 4 times. And that's after the we. So I think it's interesting that he groups it like, cool, we're flying together. We're on that jet airplane. But, but only you are bound and tied.
Yeah.
Not me. All I can think about is like, this is just them saying like, you belong to Creed forever.
It's true.
Like
we're bound to Creed.
The only visual I have in my head is someone who's like tied up with a ball gag in their mouth, sitting in first class next to Scott and Mark. And like Scott's just reading the Wall Street Journal and politely saying hello to everyone who's passing by first class while this person is just struggling to breathe.
And like
next
Scott, like
to him.
Beats by Dre headphones on with My Own Prison on repeat.
Yeah. Like where are they going? Where's he?
Tallahassee, I think.
Oh, some like fucking car show in Tallahassee they're flying in for?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's a weird one for me. It's a lot of negative imagery.
Well, all that taken together, like how do you feel about the song? And like it's not non-presence on the standard album. You feel it was like a slight, or it makes sense?
I feel like it makes sense, although I did rate it higher than I've rated 3 songs that did make the album.
Well, we'll get into the rating, but I do think that's not a huge tell necessarily, because I think sometimes you just have a song that doesn't fit, even if it is good. Like Soul to Squeeze didn't make Mother's Milk or Blood Sugar Sex Magic, even though I think it's better than some songs.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was just that sonically it was not necessarily a fit.
I think that's part of it to me. I think the beginning is way different than a lot of the other ones, which, like, from what I remember, like, almost every song on this opens with a pretty signature Tremonti riff. And this one starts a lot slower with, like, a relatively slow drum beat. And it doesn't have that same signature Mark sound, I don't think. And also, I don't think it's Scott's best lyrical performance. I don't love the I guess the refrain on this one where he says "we fly high" a lot. I think they talked about one being cheesy, but I think this song comes off as a little cheesy.
God, Andrew fucking hates this song.
I don't hate it.
Wow.
I like it still better than other ones, but I do think it sounds a little cheesy.
Yeah. I don't think it's, well, okay.
And the lyric "jet plane" isn't really helping that cheesiness.
I can see why you say that. I hadn't pegged it as cheesy, more so just angry and confusing a little bit.
Yeah.
I would actually really love to know the message on this song. So if anyone's, like, people listening, if you
email us.
If you have a thought about what the song's about, email us at
myownpodcast@gmail.com.
And that is podcast twice. That was not a glitch. It's my own podcast @gmail.com.
Send us something and we'll read it on the pod.
Yeah, or just send us pictures,
Give you a shout
pictures
out.
of your dogs and stuff.
Okay.
That's cool too.
They're going to say dongs. And I was like,
Pictures
please
of
don't
your
send
hogs.
those.
Send
Just
us pictures of your hogs.
animals, please.
Yes,
furry animals.
Your
we
wild
like.
furry hogs.
I guess I'll rate this song then, since we kind of talked about it.
We're at that portion of the show.
I mean, I don't have that much else to say about it. I just think it's like a decent song on its own, but I think it does feel a little out of place for the rest of My Own Prison. So I get that's kind of why it maybe was left off. And I do think Bound and Tied just feels sort of aggressive compared to the rest of the song titles. And the tone, I think, is a lot darker. And not the rest of the album is pretty raw and dark, but this feels like a different layer of that. The chorus is pretty catchy. And there are some good... I'm trying to remember the guitar in the song doesn't particularly stand out to me, but it is a relatively catchy song. I don't know, it's pretty average to me, so I think I would give it like 2.75 yes.
Okay. 2.75 yes from Andrew.
Not bad, but certainly not one of their best.
Okay. For me, I've scored it a little lower than you. And I also want to say that this score includes a small bump for being on Dead Man on Campus soundtrack.
You're all about those small bumps.
Small bumps.
Not a drug thing.
No, well.
Stop.
Small bump for being a Dead Man on Campus because...
You like Zach Morris?
I love Zach Morris. No, just because it's weird that I remember seeing that movie. Like, that movie would have come out, like, been in theaters, like, just right as I was starting my freshman year of college.
Mm.
And so I think I probably saw it and thought, this is what college is like. And
Killing your
I thought
roommate.
my roommate was trying to get me to off myself that entire first semester.
There's got to be an easier way to get straight A's.
Yeah.
Maybe just study.
I'm still here, Jason Reisinger.
Yeah, Jason.
Reisinger.
We hate you,
No,
Jason.
we don't. No, he was a good roommate.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said he tried to make you kill yourself.
But
so.
other than that,
Okay. That's a pretty big first hurdle.
we all have one flaw we can overlook. That's okay.
It's just kind of big.
But with you, in that it was pretty unmemorable for me. This song, it is nothing stood out to me, other than it feeling a little bit weird lyrically.
Yeah. Jet plane.
Just confusing. Again, I do have a small, smooth brain, but still confusing.
Not mountainous at all in that region.
No, it's like if it was top. If my brain was
Go
a
skiing on
topographical
it.
map,
Wait, no, that would be a
you'd
mountain.
ice skate on it.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. God, who's the idiot now?
Nebraska flats.
Me. Yeah. Rascal Flats. So, with all that said, I scored it, including the bump for Dead Man on Campus, a 2.25.
Okay.
So, yeah, you want to tell them what next episode might entail for us?
So that's it for the songs on My Own Prison. We covered the 10 standards. We covered the bonus. There's only one thing left to do. Recap.
I thought you were going to say hug each other and
we can do that.
Talk about our feelings.
Sure.
Okay.
But before that, we're going to recap the album, talk about our favorites, our least favorites, and maybe score the album as a whole.
We can do that. I have been tracking. I don't know if I've even showed you, but I've been tracking our scores across every episode from each song.
Not that hard.
I'm going to average. It's been really hard for me.
We covered it. Smooth Nebraska brain.
So we'll review those because some of them I think there might be maybe some regret or wishing we could change, but we can't.
No, we're locked in.
Already published.
Baby.
These are locked and loaded. We'll see who scored the album higher based on an average of all the song scores. I've not done that yet, and I'm interested to see who gave the album a higher score.
Do you know how averages work?
I don't, but I have a computer.
Okay.
And I'm going to get my girlfriend to look that up for
Operate Microsoft Excel for you.
Yeah, Windows
Already
Windows
not off to a great start.
XP.
The last thing I'll say before we get out of here is there's a Stormtrooper helmet there.
Why is that?
My mom recently sent me just like a text of pictures with like my Stormtrooper helmet that I had when I was a kid, and a Lord of the Rings sword I had when I was a kid, and just a bunch of Pokemon cards with nothing underneath it. And it was like a big threat, as if she's like, I have these and I'm going to throw them away if you don't say anything. So
she sent it to you?
Yeah, I was like, cool. I want that one. So she sent it to me.
That's awesome. Is it wearable?
Yeah, you could probably fit it on your head.
Not with the headphones, but you should do the next pod with this on your head.
Okay. It might affect the sound quality, but it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
For those that are just listening in the podcast feed, I have a replica of a Stormtrooper helmet that I got from the Sharper Image when I was a child.
Is it really from the Sharper Image?
I think so. That's what the store was called, right?
Why were they carrying Star Wars gear?
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a comic store. Now I don't remember. I got to ask my brother.
Who's the idiot now? It's still me, but shut up.
Yeah. Well, Reed, all that said, I think it's time that we make our escape.
Let's go there.
For my own podcast, I'm Andrew Colin.
I'm Reid Fenlaw.
Bye.
See you later.